Three, two, one, and we're live. Good morning. What's my telephone? I was trying to put some light on the subject from this direction. And I've got questions for you. What opens with dang, I forgot what my plan was. What opens with Ra and Darla kind of dampen, things kind of damp like water's been thrown on the subject. Yeah. And what closes with things going up in flames. If you guess Queen Sugar, season whatever it says in the thumbnail or the title, that's what it is. Maybe you guessed or maybe you read it on the title. You're correct. Thanks so much for clicking on the video or jumping on live and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Yeah, I cut it maybe last week. It's my favorite hairstyle of all times. I always like to wear it. I think of all the styles I've had. I just shave it and then let it grow wild. Shave it, let it grow wild. Shave it, let it grow wild. I got seduced by these little girls on YouTube, and I was trying to like grow my natural hair long and do all of the things that it takes to take care of it. But I don't really think I have the personality for that. I think I like to just rub some oil on it, wipe it with a cloth, and keep going. Hey, Yapo, how you doing? So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be inspired to have long hair again. But for now, this is what I got. So thanks for again for jumping on. Let's jump right into the recap and review. What is the thing? There's no haven in my shadow. So that's why it's dark and everything, because I'm trying to, hey COG, I'm trying to set the mood. I couldn't figure out what the title was about. How did the title related to the show? Hey Spencer, how you doing, Mr. Whitelow? All right. So we got Ra and Darla together. Remember at the end of the last episode, Darla showed up and we were just all shocked because we didn't know she was coming, even though she had been trying to call Ra again and again and again, and he wouldn't take her calls. Okay, so we got Ra and Darla together. Things are looking all hail the royal family. All hail the royal family. All hail the royal family. So they're together, Ra and Darla, and they're looking tense. Ralph Angel and Darla are looking tense. And then in comes Blue, little baby. Oh, mommy, I made you a coloring book, and da 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 da. And he's talking about the bonfire that's going to be honoring Ra's dad that's coming up. And are you coming, mom? And Darla is like, I can't make it this time, but I'm here for your birthday. And baby, could you go get some crayons? So she sent the baby away, and then Ra's like, well, how long are you here for? And Darla is like, I'm here to stay. And then so what's up with the party for Blue? And Ra's like, I don't know how to do this. Y'all know Ra's dramatic. How is this supposed to work? And Darla is like, as long as Blue is in St. Joe, I'm in St. Joe, and I'll do whatever it takes to make it work. So for those of you who may or may not know, Ralph Angel has been operating under the impression that Blue is his son, and he just found out a couple episodes ago that Blue is not his son. But he's been, oh my God. Did y'all see how fast that car went down the street? And Bella out there. Oh Lord. Come on. Come on. That was pretty fast. You could tell. Now she looking at me like I'm crazy. And I think I saw her little behind bouncing after it. Hey, Rowdy Chica. Oh, crazy dog. She's so wild. Okay. Okay. Let's get it going. Okay, so that's what's up with Ron Ralph Angel. So she like, look, as long as he's here, I'm here, which is kind of interesting because it's her son. It's not even his son, it's his son because he's been raising him, but it's not his son by blood. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just an interesting, it begs the question. What question? I don't know. Okay, so we see Aunt Vi, she's in the commercial. Maybe it's slick down. Yes, slick down. Rowdy, bowdy, bowdy. She's up to her eyeballs, Aunt Vi in cherry pie. And Charlie is on the phone and she like, look, Aunt Vi is like, Charlie's like, well, have Nova take him. I got, meal stuff to do. We got somebody coming in to fix something. And Vi is like, Nova is busy doing your daddy's commemoration, which you would know if you would get off your high horse and talk to your sister. But Prosper has to be picked up at 10 a.m. His appointment is at 10:30. So bye, baby. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, Nisi. Pick up Mr. Prosper and take him to the doctor. So then we see Nova. She's writing. She's finishing something. And then we see Charlie. She's working on a list, crossing stuff off or whatever. Nola is calling Vi to get some Aunt Vi wisdom. She's like, Aunt Vi, I don't know what this book is supposed to be about. And Aunt Vi is like, black folks ain't got no time. For writer's block, baby. You ain't got writer's block. It's too much for us to say, and it's too little time. Plus, you the only writer here in St. Joe, so you got to write. And then Miss Effie comes into the commercial kitchen. This is the lady who arranged for her to have the commercial kitchen to use. And Miss Effie is like, the Ladies Society is here. It's Wednesday. And Aunt Vi is like, I have the kitchen on Wednesday. It's on the schedule. And the lady, Miss Effie is like, no, the ladies have the kitchen on Wednesday. They always have the kitchen on Wednesday. They're good church going ladies. And Aunt Vi is like, y'all ain't had no problem cashing my check. I mean, I have the kitchen on Wednesday. That's what's on the schedule. And Miss Effie is like, bye, you got to get out. So it's like a source of stress and drama. My checks are clearing all right. And she like, yeah, clear your behind. The Lord will bless you for making your donations. We see Charlie with the investigator woman. I'm not quite sure who she is. And they're going over Bochinche on the White family. Who are they? I can't figure out. I guess they're the Boudreaux and the Landrys, and different investors and board members. And Charlie is trying to find the dirt and she's hearing the stuff and she like, it's not enough. It's not enough. She's not satisfied. We see Darla has finally gotten Blue to sleep and she's talking to Ra. Darla's like, he's got plastic under his sheets. And Ra's like, yeah, he's been wetting his bed since 3 weeks after you left. Because remember, she just left. She ain't say bye to her son or nothing. She just left. And I did not understand why she would not say bye to the child, but she just left. So he was feeling anxious, of course. His mama always be disappearing on him. And she's like, Darla's like, why didn't you tell me? And Ra's like, he didn't want anybody to know. Now, I feel like parent to parent, they co-parenting the child together. The mama needs to know what's going on, Ra. I know your jaws are tight. I know you upset, but the mama needs to know that the baby is peeing in the bed. So then, Darla's like, well, I should know. And she doesn't say it like that. She's like, I should know. Because y'all know she's real like submissive and like, she ain't really gonna like raise up and be like, you better tell me what's going on. She kind of like low key like that. Darla's like, well, I should know. And then they talking about the daddy's memorial and everything. And Darla's like, look, I know that was hard on you and this whole situation is hard on us, with the paternity and everything. She doesn't say that, but that's what she's talking about. And then she's like, I want to make things right. And Ra's like, well, why didn't you tell me you were coming? And Darla is like, I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't talk. We see Charlie at Prosper's to take him to the appointment at 10:30. She's ready to go. Prosper is like, I can't find my wife. She had a system and I don't know how she had it. And Charlie is like, Mr. Prosper, it's 10 o'clock. We got to be there at 10:30. Let us go. And Prosper is like, he kind of spaced. She's impatient, and then she go to look at like pictures on the wall and look at his stuff. Um, I don't even know what that, I missed all of that. Um, hey, Mr. Information Man Show. So, um, dang, I got distracted. Okay, so she's trying to be patient. So she's looking at Mr. Prosper's, I love his name. She's looking at the pictures on his wall and over the stuff, and she sees that he has a horn. I don't know what it was. Was it a saxophone? Was it a trumpet? Or I don't know. But she's like, "Oh, you used to play?" And he's like, "Yeah, I used to play." And yeah. And she's like, "Okay, well, let's get a move on it, because Aunt Vi is gonna get in my behind if you don't make it to the appointment on time, Mr. Prosper. Let us go, sir. Let's go, let's go, let's go." And Prosper's like, can I have a moment? And now all of the time that we've seen Mr. Prosper, I have never gotten the impression of him being feeble or him being needy in this way. I've never really seen this side of him. So it's sort of disorienting and disconcerting to see. And I think Charlie might be feeling that way as well. Um, and he's like, can I have a moment, please? And he's like, your father used to just sing your praises, blah, 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 and now all I have is a cane and a bad back. And then Charlie kind of realizes, dang, he's kind of having a moment. And she's like, well, maybe we can reschedule your appointment for tomorrow, and then I can come over early to help you find the paperwork. One of the things I love about this show is just like, seeing, like, I felt like that was very loving and very sweet. And it was very good of her to notice that he needed some assistance and he needed some space and some time. So I like just all of the different relationships that the black folks have with each other, and just I like it. So I like that moment. It made me happy. We see and I'll help you find that paperwork. I'll come over early. We see Vi and Wood loading pies or unloading pies, and Wood is like, as he's taking stuff in, he like, you need a truck, and Vi is like, oh, I'm not gonna spend the money. And Wood is like, I ain't gonna spend the money. Now we know Wood done got this big settlement. He got all this money. It's burning a hole in his pocket. He want to spend it on his Vi, or he want to just spend it. And Vi is like, look, babe, I need you to keep your wallet inside your pocket. She don't say it then, but she says it later. And Vi is sitting down. Y'all know she has some kind of health issue. I can't remember, was the lupus or something type of issue like that. She's sitting down. Wood is inside. He can't really see her, but she's winded. She ain't really feeling good. And Wood from inside, he like, some of these pies are smushed up. You want me to take them all inside? And Vi is like, I'm coming. And she kind of hobble along. She ain't exactly hobbling, but she had a spirit of hobblation. Like, she ain't really doing too good. Then we see Rod, Darla, and Blue. They're at a restaurant. Blue is about to go to the bathroom. Blue goes to the bathroom. And Rod is like, he won't let Darla go on a field trip. She had mentioned the field trip. Oh, Blue mentioned his field trip to the aquarium. And Rod's like, I'm already signed up as the parent that's going. Don't ask me no questions. That's basic. You know how he get into his little baby brat ways. So he in that mode right now. And, she mentioned it again. And he like, I already signed up as the parent that's going. And Darla is like, look, I should not have to get your permission to spend time with my son. I mean, our son. And then, it's kind of like the awkward moment, because it is like, it's her son and not his son technically by blood, but it's his son by, love and investment of time and everything. And, she's like, nothing has changed. And Rod's like, everything has changed. He's still upset. He's still processing. It's a lot to unpack. We see Nova literally unpacking food from her trunk for the bonfire. And Remy, who's her sister's ex-boyfriend, who she's been knowing all her life, but her sister did date him in the last couple, few months or whatever, he comes over and he's helping. And in that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forget, at the end of last season, Remy and Nova had a moment where we were like, oh my God, are Remy and Nova gonna get together? What's going on? This can't happen. If we want to talk about a girl code, we really can't have her getting with her sister's ex. Oh my gosh. So we were just shocked. And in this moment, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I had forgotten all about it. And they chit-chatting and everything. Then Charlie's doorbell rings. Charlie is like, Micah, your dad is here. May Davis West comes in and he's like, hey Charlie. And Charlie she's not really looking up. She got no beats for him. She like, hey Davis, and he's like, haha, work never stops. And she's like, yep, it sure doesn't. And then he's like, you had a nice touch to the place. And she looks up at him. She's like, nothing has changed since the last time you were here. Like, basically, like, let's cut the small talk. I'm not really here for it. You're here for your son. Just wait quietly. He'll be down in a moment. And sure enough, in comes the baby boy. And they can't kind of chit chat. Micah, not baby boy, because he's 16, 17, but they chit chat and they leave. We're at Aunt Vi's house, and Wood is like, I found a truck. It's only gonna take a couple $100 to fix it up. And Vi is like, I want you to keep your wallet in your pocket. And he's like, I'm trying to make it easier for you. I want to make it easier for you. You won't have pie squish. You won't have wasted inventory. We can paint it up. I already got a sign in mind. We gonna make it good. Aunt Vi's pies, or whatever her little logo is, he want to put it on there for her. And she like, she's not really feeling it. And she's like, I started this business by myself and I'm gonna keep it that way. And he's like, well, it's good to let your loved ones help. And she's like, I don't want nobody, I don't want to owe anybody anything. And he's kind of like, and she's like, look, Jimmy Dale, who's her ex-husband, bought this house and he held it over my head the whole time that we were together. And Wood is like, well, I ain't know Jimmy Dale. And then he's like, babe, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. I saw your brother Ernest work himself into the ground, and I'm not going to watch you do the same. Basically, let me help you, babe. Hey, welcome back. So then, we know that tension is going on. Then the next thing we see is Remy. He's on the farm. He's with some of his students. Y'all know he works at the college. He teaches like agricultural students, and among other things. He got about 4 or 5 different jobs he does. I shouldn't even say little jobs. And he's like, 3% of the land is owned by Black farmers. And as Remy is talking, over comes Nova, and she's like, hi, to the students and everything. And one of the students is like, so this is your family farm? And she like, yeah. And they like, well, how long have you had it? And she like, my daddy worked it all his life. And her daddy, the daddy and her auntie got the land from their father. So it's their third generation at least owning the land, and probably that's as far back as more or less, but I think they're third generation owning the land. And then the student is like, Queen Sugar is good. I love Queen Sugar. And then the student is like, well, you don't farm. And Nova is like, well, farming isn't my, like, well, how many of y'all want to, be farmers? And I think most of them or all of them raised their hand. And then Nova looks over at Remy and she's like, well, maybe you are a good teacher. And then Remy and Nova, they look deep into each other's eyes, and here they go having another moment. And we see in the previews that this is about to be a thing. How do we feel about this? Can we stand it? Is it okay if they love each other and they're the right people for them to just be together? Or are we mad because he was with the sister? Maybe that's her right perfect match. Oh my God, it's so stressful. Okay. So then we're at Charlie. Charlie is back at Prosper's place, and he's walking out to the car, and he done left something in the house. So she goes back in the house to get whatever he left. She sees a picture of her daddy and Prosper when they were much younger, Ernest and Prosper. And then she sees a notice of termination of tenancy. Landry. So here we're finding out as the show has progressed that a lot of these farmers that we were assuming own their land, like the Bordelons own their land, or the Boudreaux, like the Black family own their land. They don't own their land. They're renting the land. Is that the same as being a sharecropper? If they're renting the land, they don't own the land. Okay, so anyway, I think they're like basically tenant farmers, sharecroppers. And so she sees that he's about to get kicked off the land. And so we see Nova, right? We see Nova in the shed, and she's pulling down like a fishing pole, and then like whatever. And then in comes Remy, and she shows him the fishing box, and she's like, this was the family box. And he like, oh, you fish? And she like, yeah, well, I was really the only one that would do it because my sister didn't want to get dirty, and I don't know what she say about the baby boy. And Remy is impressed. He's like, Nova, writer, activist, and fisherwoman. Nova board alone, so they're the board alones. Okay, so then Nova is reminiscing about the last fishing trip that she took with her dad. He went in the store, he came out, he was kind of beat up, and she saw some three white men behind him. He never really said anything about what happened, but she saw how smug they were looking, and that was like she said the last time that she went fishing after that. And it's kind of like they share a moment there. Charlie is at the medical appointment with Mr. Prosper. And she's like, so Mr. Prosper, when you get surgery, do you have somebody to look after you? And he's like, well, I'm going to tell my daughter. And she's like, your daughter doesn't know? And he's like, well, she's busy and everything. And then Charlie is like, well, does she know that you about to get evicted? And he's like, how did you find out about it? And they kind of go back and forth. She like, I just happened to see it, but what's up? And he's like, I'd appreciate it if you keep it to yourself. And then the medical professional comes, and they call Mr. Prosper's name. She turns around, they recognize each other. At first I couldn't figure out who he was, but this is the guy when Charlie and her brother Ralph Angel went out to hang out, and Ralph Angel was dancing and partying, and she went to her car wouldn't start. This is the guy who helped her get her car started or gave her a boost or whatever. And he had tried to like offer her, here's my number, and let's go out to eat. And you could kind of tell he was a foodie then. And she's like, she's like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't call you, it's been so busy or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's cool, whatever. And she's like, well, maybe, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, we could go so and so, or I could grab a slice. We could grab a slice. There's an all night place or whatever. So we know he's into food. And I guess she about to have he looked Latino or something. I don't know what he's supposed to be. We see West and Micah in a car, and West and Micah. Okay, Micah and his daddy in a car. And West is like, Ernest meant more to me than anyone. He came to my games, and he would call just to shoot the breeze, and he'd offer advice about life and about love. Oh, thank you, Farrahcast Love. I appreciate the support. Out of the tub, yay. He treated me, he would offer advice about life and about love, and he treated me more like a son than my own dad. And then Micah, I don't know if his father is crying or what, but Micah is like, Dad, what's up? And West is like, Micah, you have a sister, Tia. Her mom passed away recently. And Micah is like, how old is she? And we immediately know that this is not no young child. We immediately know that West is up to some. And West is like, she's 13. And Micah is like, 13. Did you know about her the whole time? And West is like, yes. And we not surprised. And he's like, I'm ashamed of what I did, but I'm not ashamed of her. And Micah is like, does mom know? And West is like, not yet, of course. And then Micah leaves. And West is like, Micah. And it's like, grow up, West. Take responsibility. If the girl's mama hadn't died, he would probably never even know that he had a sister. It's like you apologizing, but you're not really coming clean. You're not taking full responsibility, like full disclosure, and then apologize. Or, it's like he get on my nerves. I can't liar, pants on fire. I can't stand that kind of bullshit. Okay, so then anyway, we see Charlie with Jacob Boudreaux, the nephew, Bordelon. Oh, I don't know who the hell. With Jacob, the nephew of the white people. And she's getting on him. She's walked in and she's like, what's up with all these land leases? All of these farmers are losing their land, and they're not telling me what's going on. They just barely hanging on. And he's like, it's not me, it's the EPA. There's been some mercury or some mercury, or what was it, lead or mercury is leaching, and the EPA wants the people off so they can test the land, but they're being compensated. And she like, $5,000 is not compensation. Can't nobody start over with no $5,000. You know, like what is $5,000 when somebody's getting kicked out of their house? And Mr. Prosper, who I know and love, is one of these people who's getting kicked out. Who's getting kicked out? Somebody walking down the street, Bella barking at him, and he's one of the people that's getting kicked out. But I feel like whether it's Prosper, whoever is the principal of the thing, and he's like, you're part of it too, because she is part of it. She done invest, or she's, you know, part of the deceit and the mess and the confusion. You know, so then we see Nova and Blue and Ra talking about you know, remembering and missing, you know, their parents and Pop and all of that kind of stuff. Then we're at the bonfire. Remy, Prosper, Vi, Wood, Micah, Nova. I don't know who I'm missing, but that's basically who was there. And you know, they're like, you know, fire. I don't know who's saying it. Maybe Aunt Vi. Fire is how we talk to our ancestors. We send them messages and flames, and the bonfire lights the way to heaven. It's a tradition that we pass on to Blue or to the next generation. You know, it's a winter tradition. And then they all have messages or notes that they've written for the granddaddy, for Ernest. And then, you know, Blue is like, okay, let's put everything in the bonfire, you know, and then don't go chasing waterfalls. They don't have exactly that version, but that song is playing. And then Micah, we see him, you know, he goes to put his piece in the fire. And then we see him watching some footage of his father and his mother and himself at a press conference. And his father is like, family is everything. And then we see Nova, and she's writing, you know, away with a big smile, you know, like she's found her, you know, her rhythm, her writers, whatever. And she's like, you know, she puts her paper in the bonfire to her daddy. She's like, our story lives on. And then we see Vi, and she's like, thanks for always taking care of me, she's saying to her brother Ernest. And then she's talking to her fiance Wood, and she's like, I'm gonna take you up on the delivery truck, and you just have to be patient. I don't always know how to, you know, I'm trying to figure it out. I hope we just figure it out together or whatever. And then we see Ra, and he's looking at Blue's family tree that Blue had put on the wall. And this before they knew that Blue was before he knew that Blue wasn't his biological child. And then he's putting Darla down on the, we see him looking at the permission slip, and he's crossing himself out as the person who's going to the aquarium trip. And then he's putting his you know, Darla down as the person who's going on the trip. And then we see Charlie, and she's like, dear daddy, I'll take care of it. And it kind of make me cry. And that's the end of the episode. But Charlie feel like she got to take care of everything. You know, they say that's what makes women depressed. They say that women get depressed when they feel like everything is on them, and men get depressed when they feel like nobody is relying on them or nobody needs them. That's part of the difference, you know, between men and women. And you know, I don't like when Charlie something like she can't take care of everything. But yeah, that's it. You're welcome. So I had a little moment. So that's it. That's the end of that episode. I'll be back next week for Queen Sugar. Tomorrow for Notes on the News. Sunday probably for basketball. Sunday for Real Housewives of Potomac. Monday for Basketball Wives. Oh, I think I'm going to watch Love Is, but I don't know. We'll see. Cool. Another great show. Mas. All right. So that's what I got. Thanks for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, being here, being you, and being fabulous. Today is the best day ever, and you are the greatest. So be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Much love, the True Royal family. Peace.